So, good afternoon, everyone, once again. It's a privilege to be part of this CII GreenPro Webinar on green trade, particularly as this conversation is also precursor to the forthcoming GreenPro Summit 2026 in Pune. A good product can fail to cross a market boundary for one simple reason. The buyer cannot verify what the manufacturer claims. The product may be technically sound, it may be innovative, competitive priced, fully capable of delivering the required performance. But when the buyer, consultant, or the procurement team cannot independently validate the environmental claims associated with that product, the transactions begin with uncertainty and it slows the market. And that is why the central proposition of today's discussion is green trade runs on trust. As an entrepreneur, since I have experienced to a certain extent this journey, I'm sharing this with you. Green is becoming the new currency of trust because environmental evidence can travel where a manufacturer's reputation may not have reached. And that matters within our own markets as well as the markets across the border. It matters even more when the markets are across the border, in fact. But verified sustainability increasingly determines whether that door opens for you. Cross-border buyers are now evaluating two parallel questions. The first is we all are familiar with: does the product perform? Will it comply? Will it endure? Will it fulfill the required technical, aesthetic, commercial requirements? And the second question, which is becoming more important now, in fact, is can its environmental claims be trusted, quantified, and traced? Performance remains fundamental. Sustainability is not going to replace the quality, reliability, pricing, and other things. But performance without trusted sustainability evidence is increasingly incomplete. Today, buyers, regulators, procurement systems are becoming accountable for emissions, resource use, traceability, circularity across the value chains. And they therefore need to understand not only what a product does, but how it was made, what it contains, and the impact it represents, and whether those claims can be independently verified. A product has to perform, but it must increasingly be sustainable, and that too with evidence. However, there is an information gap in between, which I call information asymmetry gap. In most commercial transactions, the manufacturer knows far more than the product than the buyer. The manufacturer knows where the material is coming from, how it is manufactured, durability, and everything else. The buyer sees only what is presented, and this gap becomes more significant in sustainability. Terms such as green, eco-friendly, recyclable, responsible, circular, and low carbon appears too frequently in brochures, websites, and presentations. But these words do not always represent the same meaning and the depth of evidence. One manufacturer may use the word recyclable because the base material is just recycled or recyclable. And another may use it because the product is genuinely designed for disassembly, material recovery, and reuse. A third may be simply using it as a communication gap, a language. The buyer may not know the difference, and that is the black box, which I call on the left. And further the buyer is from the manufacturer, the larger the black box is. And therefore, what is becoming important to understand is the buyer in another country is not able to inspect the factory, or the procurement department is not able to verify the claims. A developer cannot commission a new environment assessment for every technical acceptable alternative, and a procurement team spends weeks reconstructing the truth. Now, without independent evidence, even a genuinely sustainable product may find it difficult to distinguish from one supported mainly by persuasive communication. And this is important because a good product may not lose because it's technically inferior, but may lose because its claims are not sufficiently verifiable. And that is where a credible eco-label begins to create a commercial value. It reduces the verification gap. It moves the conversation from, do I believe this manufacturer, to has this product been independently evaluated against a recognized environmental framework. And GreenPro can be that the trust infrastructure. It is that trust infrastructure. It is the India's accredited Type 1 Ecolabel developed by CII under the Green Products and Services Council. It independently evaluates the products to product specific and multi-criteria standards, life cycle based approach. And its accreditation through GEN, as we saw, Global Eco-Labeling Network, aligns the certification with international Type 1 eco-labeling protocols. But the real value of GreenPro is not just the label, it is what this label represents. Now, a manufacturer says our product is sustainable. That is a commercial claim. Now, GreenPro allows the manufacturer to say our product has been independently evaluated against a recognized environmental framework, and that is verifiable evidence. And this is why a credible ecolabel is no longer merely a certificate. A certificate ecolabel, a credible ecolabel like GreenPro is a trust infrastructure, and increasingly it is market access infrastructure. It does not guarantee that a product is suitable for the application, but it is not going to replace the technical evaluation, but it does remove the one big question, whether this product can be trusted for sustainability. Can the environmental claim be relied upon? So from my point of view, it is the architecture of trust engine which is helping products move across the borders. An eco-label contributes to the markets through these three primary mechanisms. First is the verification. It replaces the self-declaration, which I think is the type 3 eco-label. And the product is evaluated against defined environmental criteria. And the product no longer has to rely only on the manufacturer's own word. The second is the specification. The product must still satisfy technical, functional, aesthetic, and commercial requirements. The sustainability components become easier for an architect or a procurement team to understand and justify and document. The person recommending the product can refer to a recognized framework rather than reconstructing and the entire trail of evidence. And third is the transferability, which simply means that with the product, the credibility is traveling across the border, and the manufacturer may be unfamiliar to that market, but the brand may not have a long history in that market, but the certification provides an initial basis of that trust. And this is the economic value of an eco-label. It is lowering the friction of verification, and wherever friction falls, the market movement becomes easier. Sorry, I had mentioned that it is type 3, but it's type 2 is a self-declaration. So what are we actually communicating? It is useful to distinguish between type 2 and type 1 eco-label. Type 2 is self-declared, and the manufacturer is saying our product is green, our product is recyclable, environmentally responsible. The claim may not be correct, but its credibility still depends largely on the buyer's willingness and ability to verify it independently. The type 1 eco-label, such as GreenPro, serves a different purpose. It provides a third-party, multi-criteria assessment against defined product category requirements using a life cycle-oriented approach. Its message to the market is, this product has been independently evaluated against a recognized environmental benchmark and has met the specified criteria. We at IQUBX have gone through this journey partly, and I would like to share a bit about that. We began in 2016 with one product. In 2017, we had our first batch of like 23 products. By that time, we had designed and partly invented, some of them are patented. And we were together, certified for 23 in a single batch. The first 23 products to be GreenPro certificate, GreenPro certified by us. And today we have more than 80 GreenPro certified architectural systems, one of the largest portfolio of GreenPro certified architectural products in the country. But this journey is not important from 23 to 80. The most important is what it really meant, what happened inside the organization. As the portfolio expanded, sustainability gradually moved from being just a product attribute to becoming a part of our design discipline. GreenPro encourages us to examine materials, recycle content, manufacturing processes, resource efficiency, recyclability, life cycle value, and many more things. And we begin to ask broader questions, which gradually influenced the way we designed, the way we really looked at our products. Can it be upgraded or replaced? Can it be moved, reconfigured, repaired, reused? Can maintenance happen without total demolition? Can this system protect the value already embodied in the interior? And in this way, certification began influencing not only how we documented products, but how we even conceived them. And sustainability is not added at the end. In our case, it becomes it was embedded right in the beginning, and it shaped the architecture of the product itself. So for us, GreenPro did not merely certify a growing portfolio; it helped discipline the thinking behind that portfolio. Across this journey, GreenPro has played 4 distinct roles for IQUBX, and the first was the benchmark. It gave us a standard of our system had to meet, not merely claim to meet. And that created internal discipline through design, material selection, manufacturing, documentation. The second was the authority. Now today, when we speak to architects, consultants, institutions, international buyers, we are not relying only on our own description of the product. A recognized independent framework has evaluated it, which is GreenPro. And the third was a platform. GreenPro Congress in New Delhi in 2024 gave me an opportunity to introduce new thoughts about sustainability, which I called innovation, which is entrepreneurial innovation, and sustainable sustainability. Entrepreneurial innovation embedded in an organization's culture and systems is the innovation capable of repeatedly extracting more value from constrained resources. And sustainability is based on a simple belief that sustainability itself has to be sustainable. It cannot depend indefinitely on mandates, subsidies, sacrifice, or moral persuasion. For sustainability to scale, sustainable products must also become desirable products, better performing, more useful, more adaptable, more attractive, and commercially viable. And the fourth was the gateway. GreenPro has connected us to wider sustainability conversations and international opportunities. It helped open the path that eventually led to our participation in the Russell Khema Energy Innovation Competition last month. And that opportunity became significant for us because it forced us to move from philosophy to estimation and from proposition towards evidence. For IQUBX, GreenPro has therefore been all these 4 forms of value. Beyond the Ecolabel comes the next layer, the quantified environmental disclosure, and Anishji has spoken a lot about that. I'm very happy to hear all this because this is the stage at which our company is at this point of time. An environmental product declaration, for example, is telling the market, here is a quantified environmental information associated with this product. And one provides verified qualification, the first one, and the other provides a deeper data layer, and they are not competing mechanism. GreenPro support for Ecolabel certification type 1, life cycle assessment and product carbon footprint, which is the PCF, is a clear progression. And the manufacturer begins first from the, I mean, that is my perception, from the Ecolabel type 1 certification on onwards to LCA studies and PCF assessment. Certification is telling us that the product has recognized environmental benchmarks, and the life cycle assessment is examining the environmental impact across the life cycle. And PCF isolates and quantifies carbon-related impacts associated with the product. And therefore, one is moving from the question of, is the product sustainable, to the question, can you demonstrate how, where, and to what extent is the product sustainable? And so certification is never the destination, it is a beginning of measurement, as we have seen in our case. So GreenPro validated where our products stood, but it also encouraged us to ask deeper questions, where the products have, how the products are made, what materials can we preserve, what disruption or, how we can extend the life cycle. And at the GreenPro Congress 2024, we had argued that sustainability becomes desirable, and the RAC competition required us to go further. And there we confronted the question, can desirability-led adaptability actually produce measurable decarbonization? And that was the basic premise that we answered in that competition. And just to take a little bit from that study that we did, when embodied carbon in interiors is discussed, the focus is usually on the first installation. I may be a little wrong here because I'm not a sustainability expert, I'm an entrepreneur. But I think Anish can verify that more. And so what is the material used? How much recycled content was there? The initial carbon footprint? These are the important questions. But the carbon story is not complete here. Commercial interiors rarely remain unchanged for decades. In fact, they change often. Organizations grow, team reorganize, workstation and the working style changes. Acoustic expectations increase, maintenance becomes necessary, partitions have to be relocated, systems have to be demolished and rebuilt. The true life cycle impact of an interior therefore includes not only the carbon embodied on the day one, but also the carbon generated every time the interior changes. And that is what we begin calling the carbon of change. Every conventional alteration may involve a lot of demolition, waste removal, fresh manufacturing, transportation, repair, operational disruption, disposal. But for 10, 20, and 50 years, this recurring carbon can become substantial. In many cases, the larger environmental opportunity may not lie just in selecting the more greener material with lesser embodied carbon at the initial stage, but may also be more important in avoiding future carbon footprint which may happen through demolition and reconstruction. This we called desirability-led life cycle decarbonization. This is the concept that we propose. People do not generally choose interior systems because they want carbon savings. And this is a controversial statement I'm making. So they do not choose interior systems because they want to save carbon, They choose products because they want better performance, more creative freedom, stronger acoustics maybe, easier maintenance, more customization, ability to adapt as the organization evolves. These are more the questions, which may influence a buying decision. And the sustainability benefit can be embedded inside those desirable outcomes. The product is not adopted because it asks the user to compromise for the planet. It is adopted because it works better for the user and as a consequence works better for the planet. To evaluate this more holistically, we developed a framework called FTEH framework, which is the financial, temporal, environmental, and the human framework. And this framework has evolved over a period of time, and this is the over years of experience. This is the basic crux of the matter which has come out. So this framework we have now started using. And we have realized it is very important for three connected purposes. The first is the product development validation. Every new system that we make is expected to create value across all the four dimensions. Financially, it has to reduce the avoidable cost over its life, not just the initial. It has to shift the cost from one stage to temporally it should save time in installation, maintenance, modification, future adaptation. It should be quick to install. Environmentally, it should reduce waste, repeated manufacturing, demolition, or resource consumption. Humanly, it should be highly customizable. It should reduce disruption when changed. It should be modifiable. It should support well-being for a better performing space for the people occupying and operating in the space. A product that performs strongly only in one dimension can create hidden costs in the other domains. A cheaper system may take longer to install or may have higher environmental cost. A faster system may create more waste. A low carbon system may be very, very costly. So FTH helps in evaluating whether all the four parameters are being adopted in our design or not. And the second application emerged when we were working on this rack competition. We realized FTH also reflects the buyer's decision-making process. The buyer may not consciously use these words, but they are always subconsciously, these are the four factors which are going to affect what it is going to cost me today and later, how long it will take to get delivered and to install, how much disruption, waste, or risk it is going to take, How is it going to affect the people using the space, and many other questions. And the buyer decision is rarely based on the price alone, and we realize it is all interlinked to the FTH framework of financial, temporal, environmental, and the human consequences. And the third application of this framework we also realized during this competition was the evaluation of change itself. Whenever an interior changes, the real cost is not merely the cost of the replacement work. It includes financial cost, time cost, environmental cost, the human cost. And in fact, this creates a classic catch-22 situation, which we understood. We lose if we change, and we lose if we do not change. If we change conventionally, we incur a lot of cost, waste, carbon, time, disruption. And if we do not change, the interiors gradually become less aligned with the needs of the users. So the answer is not to prevent change. The answer is change without demolition or destruction. The RAC competition gave us an international platform, and it pushed us to move from mere conceptualization or philosophy to actual estimation. As part of our submission, we developed a notional LCA or life cycle analysis study, comparing conventional commercial interiors to an adaptable systems, based on our systems that we have designed, which we are calling empathetic dynamic architectural systems. And over 10 years of life cycle study for a 50,000 square feet grade A office, and we had a lot of insights. It was not a certified LCA, but now we intend to go along with GreenPro for with proper LCA studies. It was an assumption-based framework, and to investigate a question, an underexplored question, I would say. How much carbon is repeatedly generated when interiors are demolished and discarded and rebuilt as user requirements change? The study indicated the opportunity was substantial, but the most important finding was not just the numbers, but it was that much of the life cycle value in terms of decarbonization came not from the initial embodied carbon, but from avoiding future demolition and reconstruction, which we are calling life cycle carbon. So adaptability emerged not merely as a convenience, it emerged as a potential decarbonization strategy. And for us, this was a real significance, these insights that we had in our RAC journey, and GreenPro helped establish the credibility. The international competition provided the platform. The life cycle framework began converting our core propositions of design and philosophy to that of evidence. And this is how sustainability can expand market access, not only for products, but also ideas, innovation, intellectual property, and design leadership. Now, how better systems avoid the carbon of change? I'll just share a bit about that. The principle becomes easier to understand when we look at how adaptable systems behave over time. 3 different systems demonstrate the same idea. They preserve what already works, upgrade only what must change, and avoid demolition wherever possible. The first is an upgradable glass partition, the second is demountable solid partition, and third is a large format ceiling accessing system which we have designed. And each is addressing a different requirement, but all are reducing demolition, disruption, replacement, and recurrent carbon. The first I would like to share briefly about is the high performance glass partition system which IQUBX has designed, and it is under patent at this point of time. Often in interiors, there is a need for change of layouts, change of function of the spaces, or simple upgrading of acoustic insulation because of the noise or lack of privacy one may experience, like in executive cabins, conference room, training rooms, etc. And in conventional system, improving acoustic performance may require replacing entire partition. And I think we all may have gone through in our corporate life at one time or the other. And that means removing the frame, disturbing adjoining finishes, handling waste, manufacturing a replacement, interrupting the occupied space a lot. And in our system, the same frame can support an upgraded path from single glazing to double glazing or higher performance configurations without replacing the complete assembly. And the principle, upgrade the performance, not the frame, becomes evident here. This creates value across the entire FTH framework. And environmentally, material is retained and demolition is reduced. and humanly there is much less disruption. The system is desirable because it is delivering high caustic performance and the future flexibility. And the life cycle carbon benefit is embedded inside. And that is what is the premise of our desirability-led life cycle decarbonization. We have demountable solid partitions, which can be prefabricated, can be reconfigured, modified, upgraded, reused. It is not like a conventional wall, which has to be demolished, discarded whenever requirement change, the layout needs to change. Walls, these are the walls that can be reorganized, and the value is multidimensional. There is much less demolition, much faster to install, it's much faster to reconfigure, lower downtime, reduced waste handling, and in fact, environmentally, it can save several times the initial embodied carbon in its life cycle, because that is one of the systems which need to change a lot in especially corporate interiors and all kind of interiors. We also have a large format ceiling access system for accessing services inside the ceiling, one of the biggest which are available in the market. We have made super big sizes, and I'm not going to talk too much about that. And in fact, it is one system which is helping a lot of maintenance in the MEP intensive, I would like to say, kind of buildings that are being made today. In fact, even in residential interiors, there are a lot of MEP services which are getting embedded inside the ceiling, and these ceiling tableaus are a boon, and therefore they are saving a lot of maintenance costs, time, and they are enabling the longevity of the entire MEP services. In fact, I would like to chart the path from from certification to the comparability, how the market is moving from claims to data. So green trade is moving from now claims to data. Tomorrow's market access will depend not only on whether a product is certified, but whether also on whether its environmental performance can be quantified. Now, this is a clear progression from certification, quantification, traceability to comparability, which will give you eventually the market access and the green trade, which is the topic. The certification establishes that a recognized environmental benchmark has been met. Quantification converts the environmental performance into measurable data. Traceability connects it to that data to the material, sourcing, processes, products. Comparability enables buyers, consultants to evaluate alternatives, and together they create a stronger and frictionless market access. And this is not merely an environmental progression, it is a commercial progression. A product may still enter some markets today with broad environmental claims, but tomorrow these markets may ask for evidence, a structured, traceable, comparable evidence, the kind which now GreenPro is offering in terms of LCA and PCF. Since the market, that's why life cycle assessment, product carbon footprint, environmental product declarations are becoming increasingly important, not merely as a communication tool, but also as core commercial capabilities. And certification is a structured starting point, and manufacturer that has undergone a life cycle oriented type 1 assessment has begun to develop the necessary discipline of data collection, information, about the manufacturing impact, about durability, resource efficiency, end of life implications, etc. And this kind of deeper measurement is what is going to enable, along with the GreenPro, to enable LC and PCF service, PCF certifications, which is going to be a phenomenal help. Now, this webinar is a precursor to the GreenPro Summit 2026 in Pune. And at that summit, I will be taking this discussion forward to the next stage: how adaptable interiors can reduce the recurring carbon of demolition and reconstruction while supporting individual well-being, productivity, and long-term resource efficiency. So I'm going to talk about the impact on individual to the planet at large, about how adaptable interiors can enable that through life cycle decarbonization. And the conversation today about certification that creates trusted foundation, deeper measurements, which is the requirement, and which demonstrates impact, and the better designs which converts sustainability into something the market genuinely wants to adapt, and the conversation which are going to have there in terms of a wider impact on individual to the planet. So let me conclude now. The central proposition was the green trade runs on trust. A buyer must be able to trust the product. An architect must be able to trust the documentation. A consultant must be able to trust the environmental claim, and the market must be able to recognize the evidence without doing on the entire homework again and again. A credible eco-label like GreenPro helps us make this possible. It converts sustainability claims into independently assessed proof. It reduces the information asymmetry I was talking about. It lowers the friction of verification. It supports specification and procurement and allows environmental credibility to travel beyond the manufacturer's existing reputation sphere. For manufacturers who have yet to begin this journey, credible certification is the first step, of course. And the next step is the deeper measurement of quantification, traceability, and comparability. And GreenPro is helping us throughout the journey. Because tomorrow's market is not going to simply ask, is the product green? Can you prove it? Can you trace it? Quantify it? Can you prove it? Can you trace it? Can you compare it? For IQUBX, GreenPro has been a benchmark, an authority, platform, and a gateway. It began by certifying our products, and it helps us convert sustainability into a disciplined and communicable market asset. It helped open an international opportunity through RAC, and it continues to prepare us for the next generation of green trade through deeper lifecycle measurement. So technical performance gets product to a door. Verified sustainability increasingly determines whether that door opens. Thank you so much. And I will also like to take questions. But before that, I would also appreciate if you can scan this QR code so that we can remain in touch. And I will also like to share this presentation as well as maybe a recording of this video if it becomes possible, and other related information. If you found this valuable, I would definitely love to remain in touch with every one of you. So you may scan this QR code.
Vijay, just one question, if you could please take that.
Sure, sir.
In the chat, what challenges do manufacturers face when implementing green trade practices?
So I think when implementing green trade practices, so I think one of the most important thing to understand here is that this is something which is related to international trade, and not just the domestic implementation of certain policies. So understanding the details, to understanding the frameworks, to understanding how we can go about that, it is virtually impossible to do it alone. And secondly, of course, you can never do it as I was talking in the presentation. That would be the type 2 certification. So that is not of any value today. Everyone demands validation or third-party assessment. Everyone wants proof in terms of LCA and PCF, which only an accredited and internationally recognized label like GreenPro can give us. And these are the challenges which people, the manufacturer, are facing because they are not simply aware. And once the awareness is there, hand-holding with the GreenPro is one of the ways in which we can definitely access the international market, and that has been our experience. There may be many other, aspects of green trade practices like the certification and the measurement and the LC assessment and everything will deliver value only when your products are designed for those values, or they justify in their technical competence in like the FTH framework that I was talking about. They have to justify all aspects, and that is only when the buyer takes the decision. And green trade can ultimately happen once you understand your product is desirable. Secondly, it is going to meet the criteria of the certification that GreenPro is going to provide. Now, that requires a certain level of thinking, which goes beyond just plain manufacturing, which should happen in the general case. So we are. It is my personal opinion, belief, of course, and I'm not an authority in the field, that we are entering a phase in which the globalization is really hitting us. In the sense, we have to now take that step. It is the right time. We have to do it. If we don't do that, because it's a broader market access for you, everything is becoming so competitive, and the world is an opportunity. Anish was talking about so many opportunities in so many countries and geographical regions which are opening up. If we are prepared, we can go there. But it is one of the challenge for manufacturers to understand, implement all those, to address that preparation. But I think which is actually quite a bit tough in many circumstances. But GreenPro is helping us a lot in that area.
Well, on behalf of CII GreenPro and all the participants, Mr. Amit, thank you for sharing your journey, your experiences, and your vision. And we wish you and IQUBX, continued success in driving innovation and decarbonization through the built environment. Thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.